Hello everyone, welcome to the LSI F1.5 EU Championship. Thank you very much for waiting, and I do apologise for the delay. We only have a few moments left in qualifying. We do see Tom Robb retiring from this one as they restart their game to try and prevent lag. Peanuts retired their higher tier driver, as well as Tom Robb, and of course the Mexican as well. So Terence is the only car that needs to set a lap time to try and get ahead of the other higher tier drivers. So welcome to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. This is going to be a very good one. Now, looking at the championship so far, and more importantly, last race, we saw Verve take their second win of the season, and they took that in Australia, of course, as I just said. And we saw that was Terence P2 in the end, who makes it a hat-trick of podiums consecutively as well. Now 23 points behind Jericho Willis, who's now in P2. So Terence jumps ahead of Brothers Cool. It's Jericho Willis who's now 3 points behind Verve with 84 and 81 points, respectively. So Verve manages to get ahead of Jericho Willis. Jericho getting that time penalty that lost them 2 extra points. So Verve would have still been the championship leader, but instead of 1 point, it's now by 3 points. So we'll see how this one goes. Verve currently looking strong to take their consecutive, or not, I say consecutive, yes, it's going to be consecutive, their 6th consecutive pole position and try and continue this 100% pole position rate. It's an absolutely phenomenal feat, and they're looking to try and get that 7th career pole, that's 8th career pole. They've currently got 5 this season out of 5. This is the 6th race. We've got Jericho Willis trying to make a difference right here. However, they have had many front row starts this season, including the last time out in Australia, but now we've got a street circuit, if you like, again, but instead it's under the lights instead of down under. So let's see what Jericho can do as they go through the S section. We actually have a problem where we can't seem to use the controller here, so I do apologise for the delay, but we will have to let that one go for now and do what we can with what we have. Currently, Jericho Willis is doing exactly that to try and get themselves ahead of their championship rival. What's it going to be here for Jericho Willis as they go down the straight? DRS, using some ERS where you can, but you don't want to run out too early on at this circuit, otherwise you will drop out on the revs, on the energy towards the final stages. We do have the Ferrari of Sir Maxon who will be setting an invalid lap. It will be Jericho to set the final lap of the session, to start the final stint of laps, I should say. But currently, it's a big gap that Verve has, about 5/10. Jericho Willis needs to find the final corner. 3rd gear, gets it right. DRS up to the line, and now they just hope that it's going to be enough. What can Jericho do? And it's going to be a P2, a .010, 6/10 improvement, but I don't think it's going to compete with Verve, who's done a phenomenal job. We go to Terence, who's had these podiums. Can they try and get themselves a good start to this event in Jeddah with a brilliant qualifying position? It's P5. They're not going to get ahead of Brothers Cool and Rare Winter. Brothers Cool invalidates Rare Winter right there. We're going to get Verve invalidating as well. Can Rare Winter find something here in the final moments? Can they find a little bit? That would be good indeed, although there was something interesting that going on in qualifying. DRS up to the line, and it's going to stay P3. They improve, but they don't actually get it position-wise in the end. They're going to be lucky with that one. And that is qualifying done. And then we will go to the race. We'll get those results on the screen as Verve takes pole position. And it's Jericho Willis in P2. Again, the top 2. Then it's Rare Winter in P3. That's the race director. This is the race director with the instant section. And then this is the pit stops. We'll be back for the race. We'll see you in a bit. Ready. Hold. Go! Who's going to get it into turn one? Verf on the outside line, and it looks like a good launch. Will Jericho have a go? No, the outside line. They'll have to back off and let it be. It's Ray Winter and Brett is cool going side by side. Brett is cool jumps the Red Bull off the start. A brilliant effort. Terence down to P8 in the beginning stages, unfortunately having a pretty bad start in this race. But wow, a brilliant start once again from Verf. No, it's going to be Peanuts into the wall immediately. And that will be a virtual safety car deployed, not a full safety car. So it is not going to affect things massively and more of just a kind of relaxed vibe. Well, Verf has had an absolutely mega start right there. 1.8-ish seconds that we just saw. It could definitely change, and Jericho's going to try and make sure that he doesn't lose that DRS and gets a good restart. You can really maximize restarts in this game and gain a little bit more time compared to your rival if you plan it out correctly, and this is going to be a big game to try and figure out. There's the green flag already, and we are all racing once again, all in a train at set from Terence, so it did work out after all. Brilliant stuff right there. That's the first DNF, that's the first lap, not even over. It's Verf leading the way. Jericho followed by his teammate closely, who had a brilliant start. Ray Winter not too far away, looking to try and do something about it, of course. Terence, we go and check in and see their front wing. It's gonna be fine, it looks like. Left end plate's actually missing, so not the way you want to start the race, unfortunately, but they will be able to get back into it later on. Of course, there's plenty of time in this Grand Prix, and they are on a run of performance in recent times. Jericho losing a little bit to their teammate as Brothers Cool has managed to find a little bit of pace in this early stage of the Grand Prix. We are going to go and check on the tyre situation. You can see the hards only for Sir Maxon, also for Peanuts, but they didn't work out in the end. So everybody else is going onto that medium tyre. That's what we saw last time around in Australia. F1.5 seemed to usually go for exactly the same tyre, whereas the F1 tier is a little bit more of a mix-up, so it's a bit more complicated on the strategy. That being said, if you're all on the same tyre, it gets incredibly competitive, and that's what the top two, the two rivals, are going to be looking to do. Brothers Cool here is trying to get back ahead into P3 of the championship from Terence. They're currently 3 points behind the driver from Hong Kong, and currently not even 0.3 of a second behind Verf is Jericho Willis. Now it goes to 0.3 on the exit of turn 22, but they're incredibly close to the back of the Sauber, and they are going to look to the outside line. Will the Sauber back off and let that go? They move to the racing line. They immediately realised that they moved a little bit too late there and tried to move back to the left. That was a bit of a close one. It's now going to be not forgiven by Brothers Cool, who's going to go to the outside line and try and follow through. Are they going to stay ahead of their teammate, or are they going to let their teammate go? They do let their teammate go, and Verf gets back into P1 despite all of that. I thought that there was maybe an opportunity for Brothers Cool to go into the lead right there, but they didn't want to risk it. Their teammate, of course, needs to try and score as many points as they possibly can for their championship. It would have been an incredible overtake, the double into the first corner, if Brothers Cool could have got that job done. Now, 7/10 that they've got to find to Verf. Verf has tried to pick up the pace a little bit. They managed to do that back in Australia at the start and on a safety car restart. There was a mid part of the race as well where the DRS was split up, but other than that, Jericho Willis always found a way to catch back up in the race. The race pace is definitely there. Can they try and get another victory that they haven't had since round 2, the Dutch Grand Prix? They won the first two openers, Austria and the Netherlands. Had a difficult time in Singapore, but still scored some good points. And then we went to Monza with the strategy call issues, and then of course Australia, the most recent one. But now Saudi Arabia is a completely different story. It's a new chapter in the season. and it's going to be side by side as they're so close through turn 27. I was going to try and figure out who was going to be ahead, but it was completely level. It's Verf once again ahead into turn 1, and they're going to get the DRS. I don't think Jericho can do anything about it, and they're not going to go ahead is Bread is Cool. There was a bit of lag there on the server side, unfortunately. It doesn't seem to be actually, but yeah, I don't know what that was. It seems all okay, and we are good to go. The top 6 are still in the train. Terence is getting another, going into the pit lane for a fresh wing, and they're going quite early on, but they're going onto the hards to try and go all the way to the end. Maybe we'll see them back again later on in this race, so definitely keep an eye out for that one. And Bread is Cool loses it on the exit of 11 and 12. Easily done. What a shame there. What a shame. A brilliant start from the McLaren. They do have a front wing, and they're good to go. Do not count them out. Scoring some good points back in Australia despite a difficult race. They do make sure that they stay ahead in the championship compared to Sauber. Tech Seat unfortunately not making it to today's race despite being registered to compete. Would have been nice for Sauber, of course, but it doesn't happen. Verf is currently in a one-man campaign. It's going to be Jericho Willis to try and score the most points for the team here in Saudi. For McLaren, it's going to be Samaxon now ahead of Tom Robb, looking to try and make some steady progress if they can, as long as it's safe, of course. Very quick, as they did actually take victory last time around in F1.5 last season, fighting with Verf, who got P2 very, very close behind. It was P2. Jericho got a 3-second time penalty, but they were fighting for the victory as well in that race. We saw Frantic have an issue with the safety car as they tried to overtake just before the line, and it didn't quite work out. It affected Samaxon as well, but Samaxon managed to combat it a little bit better and took that victory in the end. Now, Verf leads the way, and they're once again competing for the lead of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix for the second time in a row. It's going to be Tom Robb looking to go to the inside line. They've got to hope that they don't lose the DRS range. I really don't think they should be fighting this hard, but they are going to fight, and it's Tom now going to try and follow behind his fellow current tier or higher tier driver. It's Rare Wind, so he's trying to push with everything they can, although they did have the battery turned off. So they are still in this train and good to go. They don't need to worry. Samaxon is going to the outside line as it's a defensive throw. Oh, it's a defensive throw from Jericho Willis, and I think Samaxon wanted to try and let Jericho stay ahead. Jericho wanted to allow Samaxon to go through. Then all of a sudden they were super defensive, and then everybody just slowed up massively. Now Samaxon is ahead. It's going to be side by side with Rare Winter and Tom Brainer once again, but it's somehow Jericho Willis down to P5, who maybe just misjudged what Samaxon was doing, had to slow down and lost out big time. Now they're going to go to the inside line of Rare Winter and try and get a move done from what they just lost a few moments ago. And they do make some good progress back. They have only lost, well, they've lost no positions to the current tier drivers as they regain that on Rare Winter, because the two cars directly ahead of them splitting Verf are higher tier drivers, but they still just lost track position, and you don't want to be losing track position, especially if it gets difficult later on with time penalties, as you see Tom Robb just going off circuit for a moment right there. Terence on that hard tyre second lap now, and they're just trying to make some good work of it. 25.3 they currently have. Bread is Cool 10 seconds behind this train. It's difficult when you're not in a train, but they are still staying in this race and going to be on cue to score some decent points once again for the team if they can do so. Now Samaxon found themselves in a very similar situation this time last season, racing the Sauber car of Verf. This time they're in a Ferrari and racing as a higher tier driver. They've got a lot less on the line, and they're going to go for the move into turn 27, it looks like, but they've turned the battery off and Verf wasn't able to do too much about it. It's going to be Jericho Willis making ahead of Tom Robb. Look quite simple. It's going to be a mistake maybe from Verf on the exit as they go for a ghosting moment. It's going to be Jericho Willis trying to push into the first corner, but they're going to get Tom for company maybe. no, they don't. They don't get Tom for company. They go a little bit defensive, but not fully. So it just meant that Tom wasn't able to really get there alongside either side of them, and they had to back off. Now Jericho Willis! Oh no! Oh no! Verf is into the wall! A virtual safety car is deployed! And Verf is out of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix on lap 7 out of 25. It's not going to be a full safety car, but Verf is out. What a tragic moment right there on the circuit. Oh, and Jericho Willis has just got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. They get themselves a massive penalty. 3 seconds in the meantime for Brothers Call. But what has just happened? The two championship rivals have had major impacts in this race, and for very different reasons. Jericho Willis has just received a drive-through penalty that they will have to serve very soon, and it's going to give a brilliant opportunity for Rare Winter, as long as nothing happens, to maybe look at taking their first victory here in Saudi. But Verf is out of the Grand Prix, and they will not score any points. The championship leader will lose their championship lead if Jericho Willis finishes this Grand Prix. Absolutely incredible what we've just seen. Not for good reasons for many of these drivers. Rare Winter is going to be absolutely thrilled with this one. Terence is going to be pretty happy, considering that they'll kind of be back into it. Brothers Call is going to get a bit of an advantage from this, although it's their teammate that they're losing out to, so they will get ahead of their teammate by a little bit, but not really a massive amount, of course, because they're all going to have to make pit stops. But yeah, that's an interesting one. So I don't really know what to say. I'm completely baffled, and I'm just waffling. That just happened incredibly fast, and the championship has completely changed all of a sudden. Australia, Verf was king, and they were very strong, and it looked like the tides had changed, and it was going to be Verf to carry some great momentum and maybe take the championship all the way to the end. We are only in race 6, and everything has completely swayed, and Jericho Willis, despite having difficulties in their race so far, has a clear opportunity at getting back into that championship lead. Now, to them, it just depends on where they can finish, and that will tell us how far ahead they will be in the championship. Currently 3 points behind, to take away 3 points to whatever they score today, they would currently be sat in P3 if they were to finish the race right now, because of the current tier drivers. There are 3 of them, and they would be getting a lovely 14 points. So that would be absolutely awesome. There'd be 11 points ahead in the championship, if I'm correct in saying. That's Rare Winter getting ahead of Tom Robb in the meantime, as Rare Winter is trying to make sure that they just maximise this performance, maximise this opportunity, because they could potentially take their first ever victory in LSI. They've taken podiums, and they've taken fastest laps. Can they get the golden spot, that maximum amount of points around a circuit like this? They get a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to help their race later on. That's not going to help their motivation and their composure. They've got to make sure that they're careful to not do that one again. It looked very difficult as they were just snaking on the exit curb. It's very easy to do. They've just got to not do anything like that for another few laps at least. In the meantime, Tom Robb has gone and hit the wall fairly hard. I don't think they would have got any damage, but they did lose a little bit of momentum, and that lost them out quite a bit there. That's Rare Winter getting as close as they can to that wall to maximise the performance. As I was just saying, it's going to be Tom Robb to the outside line on DRS, and they're hoping to try and get ahead in Slingshot, but it's going to be side-by-side battle, as Rare Winter doesn't seem to really want to let it go, which is an interesting tactic. They're not going to gain any time, and it's only going to allow Jericho and Bread is Cool to catch up at this point. And DRS will be available for Rare Winter, and they will be able to have a go back into turn 1, but they are going to hold off this time and allow the higher tier driver to stay ahead. Now, Jericho and Brothers Cool did that switch. Brothers Cool now's that DRS, but it's not going to be enough for them to switch positions once again. That is Jericho now back into P2 for the higher tier or the current tier drivers. They need to find about, or what's that, 7-8 seconds to catch up to Rare Winter and then make the move. Lap 10 out of 25. It's a bit of a shorter race distance regarding laps. So they do have to make sure that they have to keep that in consideration, as this race can finish very quickly all of a sudden as you run out of opportunities. What a race we've had so far. Not many drivers on the grid, but a maximum amount of action. And that is going to be Tom Robb to the inside, and they stay ahead of Rare Winter. DRS should be going to that Red Bull, but it doesn't really matter because Tom's going into the pit lane and they're going for that slightly earlier call. I think Samaxon, of course, definitely has to stay out for as long as they can because they're on that hard tyre. They're trying to go for the overcut so they don't get involved in any traffic. They've currently got a big gap to the cars behind, so they shouldn't need to worry about too much at this point. Brothers Cool and Jericho Willis will stay ahead or get ahead of Tom for now. They don't really need to worry about Tom at the moment. They just need to try and focus on catching to Rare Winter, but Rare Winter is maintaining the pace here, 12.0 seconds, and these two are just trying to push each other along to catch up, but it's just not so simple. Maybe they need some fresh tyres to try and push on. Maybe they need to try and do something with the setup, with the strategy, I should say, really. Brothers Cool goes off the circuit just for a moment. They stay with their teammate and they will get DRS to allow them to catch back up. But this is a difficult one. This is for the victory. This is for the victory. 11.8 seconds behind right now. If you take away 3 seconds, of course, that does make it that 8.8 seconds instead. They have to try and find a little bit more, and they could get 20 points, could Jericho Willis. That would be a huge 17 points ahead of their championship rival. After last weekend, where everything seemed to be changing, all for the bad reasons, for the American driver, it's now all of a sudden a great opportunity to capitalize on, and they can score a massive amount of points. Regardless of where they finish, as long as they finish, they will have a nice advantage. Such a shame for Verve. I do feel for them, definitely. We're going to get a pit stop from one of the McLarens, and we will see Brothers Cool continue. Jericho gets first dibs on the strategy, as that is really how it works with the lead cars, of course. You just have to wait until you see what the lead car does do. It now unleashes Brothers Cool into P3. They got a bit of DRS just for a moment, and now they are unleashed. We could see Brothers Cool pit on the next lap. We could see Rare Winter also pit on the next lap as well. And they're going to try and get a decent undercut if they can, Will Jericho Willis. And they should have quite a nice undercut. They're 13 seconds behind Tom Robb, and Tom was very close with Rare Winter. They need to find a little bit more time realistically, but Tom has definitely shown that this undercut is going to be working quite nicely. And of course, with that hard tyre, your tyres are also going to be very cold. So if you do have an undercut, you're going to have warmer tyres, and you have an opportunity to break away earlier on. So Tom definitely has everything nailed down at the moment. Jericho Willis trying to get those tyres warmed in. They'll be good to go. 3.6 seconds back is Terence, who is very much in this race right here. So, yes, their tyres are going to be pretty old towards the end. Can they get to the end of the Grand Prix? Yes, they can. It's all going to be very, very difficult. But if a few cars have a few issues and they don't get that strategy right, they could lose out. Now, I don't think they're going to drop behind Terence as Rare Winter and Brothers Cool, who I assume is going to jump into the pit lane as well. Or they don't. They don't go into the pit lane. It is just going to be Rare Winter right there going into the pits. And the Red Bull car will come out behind Tom Robb, but ahead of Jericho Willis. So Tom gets a massive, massive, massive undercut right there. 2.4 seconds is awesome. 2 laps undercut, however. So Jericho won't have as much of an advantage, but has gained about a second or so, I'd say. Is that a second or so? They're going to gain a little bit more, actually. So we'll find out what they can do by about the midpoint of this lap, because Jericho will have nice and warm tyres ready to go through the first and middle sector to catch up before the really fast final sector, which usually you see the first sector being the fastest, but I think around this circuit, realistically, the final sector is a pretty quick one. So Maxon's still leading. Brothers Cool following the F1 Championship leaders tally at the moment, or strategy at the moment. Of course, Zingy tried to catch up yesterday and did bring that championship battle much closer. As they had a very, very interesting one. So Maxon struggling yesterday with connection issues, but they are back here today and looking to try and see if they can maximize a result. And now we're going to get something interesting here. We're going to get something very, very interesting. We've got Brothers Cool being caught up by Tom. Now, Brothers Cool doesn't actually need to slow Tom down because they're a higher tier driver, but they are. That's the fact of the case. Brothers Cool is realistically going to be looking to try and slow down Rare Winter, which could be interesting. Right now, it's not illegal, it's just not what I really expected at this point. Tom goes off the circuit and it's almost into the wall once again from Brothers Cool at the same part of the circuit as well, but instead they just lose the track position. They hold on to DRS. Are they going to try stay within DRS? Are they going to try and drop away from DRS and block Rare Winter? I don't know. But this is an interesting one. It's a very crucial one. 11.2 seconds. Jericho has caught up nicely now to Rare Winter to try and put the pressure on. But still, that gap is huge. Lap 14 out of 25. We are coming towards the second half of this race, definitely. That's for sure. Well into it, actually. But yeah, I don't know how this one's going to go. DRS is available for the McLaren. DRS is available for Rare Winter. And at this point in time, it's only going to allow Rare Winter to go quicker because they've just been given DRS. And of course, DRS has also been given to Brothers Cool. So now everything's just completely changed. DRS is not available to Brothers Cool. And now Rare Winter has a clear opportunity at making this move. They're going to try and outbrake their former teammate. They're going to try and go side by side. They make a little bit of contact, and a brilliant effort or a brilliant idea just happened to really gain Rare Winter time, actually. So it didn't work out. It's going to be Brothers Cool into the side of the barrier, and it's going to be out of this Grand Prix. The safety car is going to be deployed, and that was an interesting one. So they lost the position and then just into the wall all of a sudden, and unfortunately that now brings everything closer together, and Rare Winter, who was leading this race by a lovely, lovely amount, now loses out that advantage. So Maxon not making a pit stop yet will make their first pit stop under the safety car conditions. Of course, they will be the one to call the strategy here, and people will follow on as it would make sense to do so. And that is unfortunately no points to be scored from Brothers Cool. So McLaren will lose out a little bit with that on the championship, but with their closest rival being Sauber, it's not too bad of a situation for them to be in, of course. And not the first time that we've seen a crash like that from a car at turn 4. Of course, we saw that happen twice in qualifying, one off stream and one on stream. With that turn 4 wall, Brothers Cool just fell victim to it. Everyone will be going onto that medium tyre, including this man, who will be brought back into this race for the first time since the opening corners, and is currently looking at getting a podium as long as they finish at least 90% of this Grand Prix. Or 80% if they disconnected, but 90%. They're going to go onto the softs. Wow. Okay, that's an interesting call. The soft tyre for Terence is going to be the decision. It's going to be a long old race. It's going to be a long old race for Terence here. They're going to be going for another lap or so, so they will definitely have the opportunity to keep going and minimise their tyre wear. But it's an interesting call. And we'll see if it works. We will see if it works. Sir Maxon leads the way. Looking at the time penalty situation, it's Sir Maxon who actually sped into the pit lane and gets a 10-second time penalty. So now, what they have to do is try and break away 10 seconds from everyone behind to do something about this. I don't know if that's going to be so possible. Tom Robb in P2, they are going to have a brilliant opportunity to try and take victory here as a higher tier driver. We're going to get Rare Winter looking at trying to stay ahead of Jericho Willis and just fight with everything they can. They've got this time penalty, a 3-second time penalty. It's really quite frustrating to be in this position. Jericho Willis, however, has to take everything that they possibly can and not let anything go. So the way it goes in a championship, and it mixes things up a lot, we are going to see Sir Maxon go back into the pit lane as I expected, and they're going to have to do something a bit different on the tyres here, so they will also have to go onto that soft tyre. They probably didn't want to go on the soft tyre, but they don't really have a choice here. So there it is, the red wall will be put on, and it's going to be a tough old race to the end. They're going to have to go from P5 to P1 if they want to try and get to the position that they were in. They definitely have the pace for it. We saw it yesterday. It was absolutely amazing. But it's not going to be the tyre that they want to be on, and there's going to be opportunities for others to come back later on at this competition. Now, Terence has to try and do everything they can to push early on and maybe go for some early moves and hold everybody back, and then go for the final calls to try and get maybe another victory this season. That would be awesome. 2 victories in one season. And there's the call from the safety car. We will be going racing once again here in Jeddah. Tom Robb will lead the way, and we'll have Rare Winter, the EU leader, being the one to react. The Aston Martin will wait for that safety car to get to the pit lane, and they can go at any point that they want to. The car's behind, warming up. There is Tom going for it very early on, but that's a phenomenal reaction right there. A brilliant reaction from Rare Winter. Jericho Willis has got a bit of a gap, 9/10, a bit of a difficult situation, but Terence loses out immediately. And now Sir Maxon is going to try and get through if they can. It's Rare Winter looking to the inside to see if they can make some progress, but nothing will come of it, and they have to stay behind for the moment. Terence just not able to get the reaction on the safety car again, and it's not really going to help them at all. Half a second away already from DRS range, 1.5 seconds away from the car ahead, but Jericho Willis has managed to do a brilliant job at getting back into this despite having a slightly worse reaction, and Tom Robb has got a lot of pressure behind from Rare Winter. This could be a very difficult run. Rare Winter wants to just try and get ahead on track and disallow Jericho Willis from making any moves, because you never know, someone could maybe go for an overtake, or get a time penalty at the end and it could change absolutely everything. That's what we saw yesterday with Devon Young getting a 3-second on the final sector of the race. That could possibly happen again. So Rare Winter should not give up. Despite it looking incredibly difficult, incredibly unlikely, they have to continue and do their best. Sir Maxon is ahead of Terence in this race. Now they have to try and catch up on that soft tyre. They should have an opportunity. But with the DRS and the slipstream change going on, it is difficult. Side by side, however, into turn 27 is going to slow both of these cars down. Tom gets back ahead. DRS will not be available to any of the cars just yet, and it will just be a continuation of a slipstream train. And it's going to be Rare Winter to the inside and into the P1 for the first time this race. It's going to be Sir Maxon getting past Terence and now trying to drag Terence along with them to get back within the DRS range, and currently they are on target to do that as these guys battle. Rare Winter has found a bit of pace, half a second. They're definitely doing a pretty good job at trying to make this one work. It could work out quite nicely. It could be possible. Tom has to try and find a bit more, and they currently are looking quite comfortable. That being said, I thought it was a bit more complicated than that, but no, they do get DRS very shortly and they can relax, and they're just going to pull everyone along with them. Terence is just going to do a little bit more to make sure that they're safe with the DRS range. 9/10. It's very, very close, but they will just about have it and be able to come along with everybody in front of them. Now it's going to be a bit of a bunched up situation, I think, as we're going to get Rare Winter leading the way. Tom has to either go for the move or completely back off. So Maxon wants to try and maximize their performance here. If they can do it safely, they will do so. Tom is going to go to the outside line. So Maxon just watches up ahead to make a call. It's going to be so close, and there's going to be contact into turn 27 as they go side by side. Rare Winter is going to be furious with that one and now loses track position to to Terence in the end, and now maybe a switch is going to happen there as it's Sir Maxon to P2. Terence on the edge of getting DRS to Jericho Willis ahead, and all the cars ahead of them at the moment are on the same time penalty range as them. Jericho now is the new race leader for the EU tier and looking to try and take a victory. After all of this and it looking so difficult, they've managed to find themselves in a brilliant position for not giving up, and they could be rewarded. It's lap 20 out of 25. We're about to reach lap 21, and there's still a lot to go. A lot can happen. A lot did happen yesterday, and a lot has happened in the last few laps. Terence hasn't got DRS range on Jericho Willis, so loses out big time as the McLaren is pulled along by the higher tier drivers. It's going to be Rare Winter who goes from 8/10 back to now 3/10 and is now going to have an opportunity at making that move ahead. And they're going to try and get the job done possibly. We are going to have a look. They don't go to the inside line and they're going to look instead to P1, or turn 1 I should say. P1, however, Sir Maxon is going to have a look into turn 1 as well. The outside line will be theirs, and I don't think Tom can really do anything about that one, and they just have to let that happen. It's going to be Rare Winter ahead of Terence, and they're going to try and slingshot one another to catch the back of the McLaren. But the McLaren is currently composed, cool, collected. They can't lose at this point, surely. They just have to wait and keep it cool, keep it calm. I've just said the same words again and again and again. It's got a few more laps to go. That's the long and short of it. And they just need to make sure that they don't make any mistakes. Tried to be a wordsmith, ended up being a word shredder. Talking about shredding, those tyres, the softs, they're going to be tough to deal with right now. Lap 21 out of 25, they will be able to get comfortably to the end. It's going to be Rare Winter after a brilliant opportunity from the beginning of this race, is now down in P5 after a big mistake and a front wing loss. And it's such a shame to see this happen right there. Now Terence is in P2. We're going to get some Axon going to the outside line to jump ahead once again of Tom. We're not going to see Jericho Willis go for this move there. Just going to watch on ahead because they don't need to fight these two. These two are higher tier drivers and they can just let that happen. Unfortunately, Rare Winter goes into the pit lane and it's going to be a fresh set of soft tyres. They're going to go for the fastest lap attempt here and look at scoring a P3 plus 1 extra point for that purple lap time, which would be a brilliant effort. That's Tom going over the curb in a bit of an interesting manner as they basically jump the car over that curb. We're going to have a look at the fastest lap details on the screen right now. It is Max on 29.8. They currently have that, but for the current tier drivers, 0.3 for Jericho, so they currently have that. And Rare Winter is going to try and take that one away from the McLaren, and they should be able to do it at this stage of the race with the tyres that they now have available to them on that car. Currently, Jericho just needs to pull along with the cars ahead. Terence, a little bit lonely at the moment after losing the train ahead and losing the car behind. So they don't really need to do much at the moment other than keep it out of the barrier. As they say that, as that was a bit of a commentator's curse, but they will survive that one at least. And Rare Winter's looking for that fastest lap, which they will have plenty of opportunities to give it a shot. Now Maxon leads the way, and they're looking to try and take victory here in Jeddah after leading by about, what was it, 5 seconds earlier on before the safety car was called out. Maybe it was even more actually by that time, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, they didn't make a single pit stop until it got to that safety car. And now this is going to be an interesting one. Riding over the curb, this time it's Maxon. It's a big mistake and a big loss of momentum. A defensive throw to the inside as Tom doesn't go for the move. I do wonder if Maxon tried to allow Tom to go through because of that mistake, but then Tom didn't want to go for it, and then they ended up staying where they were. It looked like Jericho had a look at maybe making a move and getting in between the higher tier drivers, but then they immediately backed off because they know it's really not worth it. Look at the position they're in, 20 points, whereas their rival has not finished this Grand Prix. It would be such an advantage. A really difficult one to take, of course, because you want it to be nice and close in your championship battle. It's much more rewarding, but you have to take everything while you can. There's almost contact between Tom Robb and Maxon. But back to that with Verth and Jericho Willis, I'm sure he's not going to be complaining too much because it could definitely change later on. It's going to be the McLaren moving into P1 as Maxon and Tom Robb are both trying to play DRS chicken, so they're trying to go as slow as possible with it being legal, of course, and now all of a sudden Jericho Willis finds themselves into P1. They don't really need to worry about whether they cross the line first. Of course it would be nice for them to cross the line first, but they don't really need to worry about it. They can just go for the move if everybody's going to go slow in front of them. And now all of a sudden Tom Robb has lost out because they've tried to stay behind Maxon so much, and they were just kind of in a locked position really. They couldn't do anything. If they stayed behind, maybe Jericho wouldn't go for it, and that's where they wanted to be. But if they stayed behind and Jericho went for it, then, well, there you go. You see what's on your screen now, and Maxon is in a very strong position to still try and take this victory. Their tyres, of course, will be dead, or slightly worse off compared to the others around them, so they do have to keep that into consideration as we head on to the final lap, but we'll see. That is a 29.3 there from Rare Winter, and they do have the fastest lap. And now Samaxon goes for the move into the final corner. It's going to be Jericho Willis who's got pressure from behind, but they're going to allow Tom Robb to go for it. They don't want to fight the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin gets a free opportunity at having a go at the Ferrari on the final lap. On the final straights, they will try and deploy their battery and give it one more shot. Tom Robb raced for Ferrari last season. It's going to be a switch up. It's going to be contact as Samaxon didn't fully back out of the corner whilst trying to let them go, and that is going to be Tom Robb now ahead by 7/10. That's an interesting one. That is a very, very interesting one. Everything's changing up. That's a 3-second as Samaxon goes off the circuit, and everything has just changed dramatically again in this race. This time with the higher tier drivers, and Tom Robb 7/10 in front, has a clear opportunity at making this a victory here in F1.5. Jericho Willis has done everything they needed to do to stay in this race after difficulties. They've managed to make it work. A drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC, and they have combated that, stayed in it, and they've stayed in it to win it. Tom Robb has got one more opportunity to try and stay ahead. I think Samaxon is still going to try and make it right. Is it going to be possible? It's going to be Jericho Willis to the outside line. They're going to have to back off. Samaxon, the inside line is theirs. The outside line is to Tom Robb. And on the exit, it will be the Aston Martin who will get there. Samaxon not quite in the end. Tom Robb wins. Samaxon goes to P3 as Jericho Willis wins for the F1.5 EU drivers. It's going to be Terence taking P2 and Ray Winter with a fastest lap will cross the line in P3 to score a brilliant amount of points today. Absolutely incredible in the end, and everything that could have happened in that race. Wow. Jericho wins for the EU drivers once again. Third race victory of the season. No poles, but they stayed in it, and now they are once again the championship leader, this time by 17 points. Tom wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Jericho Willis in P2. Then we get Samaxon, Terence, Ray Winter, and DNFing earlier on was Brothers Cool, Verve, and Peanuts. We go through the race director just in case, as it will be very useful around a circuit like this, and we'll go through, or we'll export the session results, because why not? Lovely stuff. All right, we'll be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We're going to hear from Jericho Willis on how their race was. Well, it was up and down, that's for sure. Anything that could have happened did happen. First of all, what were the emotions when you saw, obviously, your rival out of the race, and then all of a sudden you get one of the worst things that you can get when you're in a good position and get a drive-through penalty for speeding?
Yeah, the emotions were definitely all over the place, but I was determined today to try to just relax and enjoy the racing, regardless of what happened, whether it was, a podium, a win, or just somewhere down in mid points. But just to find a realistic battle with whoever you're around and make the most of that, and just really try to enjoy the racing. So that helped me manage the emotions, but today was full of them. I struggled to get a lap together in qualifying, and then finally the last lap was a good one, and it was almost good enough for pole. Although I was very happy just to be on the front row, honestly, and as long as I could be even 2 or 3 tenths to Verth would have been great, considered a success for me. And so with less than a tenth, I was very happy with that. And that was actually, out of any testing I've done, that's the fastest qualifying lap I've been able to do. So that was a success. And so I was happy with that. And then the race itself, it was going fine. The race was fine. I made a bit of an error trying to let some action through, and that cost a bit. But I knew that there's still a train there, so it's not a big deal. It's unfortunate, but not a big deal to get shuffled back a little bit early in the race. And then Verth, I saw he disconnected, and I was trying to figure out how on earth he wasn't further up the road. When I saw him and Samakson together, just a couple seconds up the road, I was like, "Whoa, what's going on there?" And then realized he had disconnected, and then it looked like he reconnected at the worst possible time, turn 3. So that was. I felt really bad for him because we've all DNF'd from races at one time or another, and he's leading the championship. He's done a really good job this season, and so it's just so frustrating when there's some technical issue like that, because he wouldn't have done that if he had full control of the car. That was, the game did that to him, or his internet connection, or some combination thereof. So that was sad, but. His very bad luck kind of, saved my race for me initially, because for some crazy reason, the game gave me a drive-through penalty when there was still all sorts of safety car left. And so I don't know what triggered it. That was very frustrating. If you knew what triggered it and you could avoid it next time, you'd be like, okay, very unfortunate, but I'll learn from it. But when it does it and you don't know why it did it, that's frustrating. So, so that took the wind out of my sails for a little bit. But it's, if you finish anywhere, if you finish it all, you're going to finish in the points. And so Verth was out with no points, unfortunately for him. But that meant even if I finished near the back, that I was going to get points, and it wasn't a total loss. So that was helpful. And then the safety car came out, because I couldn't make. Rare Winter, I couldn't make any inroads on him. He had good pace today. He really did. I thought I might be able to bring him back in, but he was doing well. But safety car came out and brought us all together, and then just stayed with the lead train after that, and we had some fun. Tried not to get in too much trouble. It was tempting to try to have some fun with the other guys, but I was just kept saying, no, don't do it. You get into a wall and lose everything. It's not worth it. But it was tempting. You get a couple of really good racers out there on a fun track, and you kind of want to go for it. But league race, you got to try to bring home those points. So that's what we did. So it was a good recovery from a tough couple of weeks, and hopefully be able to take away some mindset changes and hold on to those, and and just have more fun and not worry as much about the results. If you're having fun, the results will probably come as well. So, that's the mindset that I'm going to try to take from here on out.
Exactly right. And I said on the final lap or so, if you're in it to win it, you can win it, and you won it. So well done. 17 points ahead in the championship now. Silverstone is a sprint race where more points are available. Do you think you can do well there?
Oh, I really enjoy that track, and so I think it'll be fun. There's two different events, so even if something happens in one, maybe you can get a good result in the other. So hopefully the pace is good, and can be kind of be in a group of people and have some fun with it. So I think it'll be a good time, and I think the pace will be good. So yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait. Thank you very much, Erica. Really, really well done to stay in it. And we'll see you next time. You are the championship leader once again.
All right. Thank you.
And we move on to Terence. Terence, that was a tough one. What happened at the start there, of course, because I didn't really get to see what was going on. But in the end, another podium. That's a P2. I'm sure you're happy with that. Now you've got 4 podiums in a row.
Sure. At the start, I just confused a little bit because I actually in time trial I feel my setup is quite comfortable, but into the qualify it doesn't. I push very very hard. I nearly become Verstappen 2021, uh, nearly crash. But I still managed with it. But I just got, I think, 28.9, which is the lowest in the qualifying, and while Firth is doing professionally 27.9, so there's a lot margin. So into the first corner, I kind judge the braking point, which is very important in Jeddah turn 1. I misbrake myself and go into the back of Winter. Luckily, he didn't get any serious issue from that. I don't spun him. But after I touched his rear, of course, I got a foreign damage. And then I also looking for my rears, and I think Peanuts is behind me, which I'm very afraid of, kinda. So I try to just maintain that because of the contact with Winter. I think I side by side with Peanut, which I caught his rear right, I think. And so I spun.
Oh, I see.
Luckily, that I don't have any more serious damage from that. So I try to run a few lap, but obviously you can't manage a good lap time with wing damage. So I pitted in and with heart and wing replacement. But after that, my lap time is still poor because maybe I'm in a 2015 McLaren, maybe.
I don't think it was quite that far, Terence. I think you definitely deserve a bit more credit for that.
But it's I hope in the upcoming race, this would more people joining the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad that it's only 5 people today. It should be 6, but I don't know why it's 5. And still some interesting would come out when you did nothing good, but you still got P2. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting, funny mood, I would say.
You were in the race, of course, and you arrived to get the result. So I think you should be happy with that. It's part of racing, so you got the job done. We are working on trying to fill up the grid more. Unfortunately, it's not quite as easy as it maybe would seem, but yep, we continue to work on that. So thank you very much, everyone, for arriving each race and trying to give a good show and help us progress in the future. Now, Terence, you've got that podium. Are you going to try and get another one in the sprint and the main race at Silverstone?
I mean, in Silverstone, I think my pace would be better. Would be having more competitive. But if you find 10 more people in it, I can't make sure I get the podium.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. Thank you very much, Terence. Really well done today. Great points again, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, Aaron.
And we move on to Tom. Tom, that was a pretty crazy one, of course, as a higher tier driver, starting at the back, fighting back up the front, and you crossed the line first.
Yeah, I'm really happy. That being my first win in any league. I'm just really happy. At the start, fighting through the grid was quite hard, of course. Like, I know in the first sector you can gain quite a bit of time if you're actually faster, but as usual I have slightly higher wings, so it's pretty hard to overtake on the straights. But managed to fight my way to the front either way. Having the best overtake in my life on Jericho. I don't know if it was on the stream. Around the outside.
There was a lot of overtakes in that race, so
around the outside at from sector 2 to sector 3, some excellent passing Jericho, and me just sweeping through on the outside because I just went my normal line and I thought Jericho would be a bit faster on pace. Yes, so that was a really close call on the rest of Endorphins. Then later on, right behind Semexon, or like close to him, and then seeing he having a gap over a second, I just thought, well, it's over. I know who wins the race because he's just so fast. Then with the safety car later on, I first thought Semexon didn't pivot. He will go into the mediums. I will go to the mediums as well to have a chance at least. And I hope to maybe stay in DRS range of him. But as soon as I saw that he got a 10-second penalty, I thought to myself, well, maybe I can get it. I'm starting the restart from first, he from last. And as well as I saw the tough tire, I just thought to myself, I need to get the gap as big as possible at the restart, because some soft tires are just dying quite early. I think I got a 3-second gap to him after lap 1, so everything I wanted happened. And then it was just pushing. The next time caught up quite early, which I wasn't quite happy about it. But as soon as he was in front, the soft were not the best anymore, and I could keep up with him quite easily. And then it was just us pushing to our limits. Having a lot of fun, I think. And then on the last lap, both of us wanting to push as much as possible and letting the other car through to have the DRS in the end. I'm getting a bit luckier than him. Then he also gets a 3-second time penalty. And as soon as I saw that moment, I knew I have to keep some Semexon between Jericho and myself. Luckily that happened, and I'm just so really glad to get my first ever victory. You don't know how glad I am to finally achieve it.
It's been a while, but you finally got it done. Well done for staying in it and putting in the hours over the years. So congratulations, Tom. You deserve that one. And Silverstone, it's a circuit that I think you like. That you'll be going to next week, Friday. Can you carry this good momentum and maybe make it an F1 win?
Yeah, definitely. No. I've got a pretty hard week of school coming up, but I feel like Great Britain is a track I can perform really well on, even without practice or with really less time of practicing, which should benefit me. That it's not any other track where I have to really put in the hours. And maybe if I can push through and people doing mistakes, getting penalties, I might have a chance for a victory, and if not on Friday, maybe double dipping on Saturday wins. Like, I'm just happy for now, and have a stressful week, and then just looking forward to a potentially good race result again.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And I can't wait for Silverstone. Well done. Enjoy it. Congratulations. And we'll see you next time. You are a winner. Well done. And we move on to a quick interview with Peanuts. Peanuts, that was a tough one. Obviously, a few corners in. That was the wall that you found. Can you take us through your race?
Yeah, so I was feeling the race pace. I was feeling good. I felt, I really felt great, and I'm feeling like an all-time performance. I'm taking that first taking that into qualifying. I realized, like, yeah, the car sucks. The car is garbage, and I just ran into the wall. And I'm like, all right, like, team, let's focus on this. Let's fix this. We do a couple of fix-ups. We fix the car up. We work on it. And I feel great. And I go into the race, and I go into the fourth corner, and the same thing happens. And I feel like as a top-tier driver, and like as an elite driver who's really up there with the greats, you know what they like, as they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and I agree. But like at some point it gets rotten, and I used to think that the team is rotten. I'm feeling we do need just. I doubt the team is savable. I'm just sad that such a good driver as myself just doesn't get like a better car. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well said, Peanuts. Thank you for that one. Well, I hope it goes better for you in Silverstone. Do you like that circuit?
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's like, do you prefer dogs or cats? You know what I mean? It's like, if they both bite you, it doesn't really matter. Let's just hope the team gets it together, and let's actually get a drivable car this time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
yeah, thank you.
We will see you next time. That's
real quick. I would like to plug my social media if that's fine.
Okay, well, just stop there. Thank you very much, Peanuts, and thank you very much. Yeah, that was definitely Peanuts right there. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next weekend for the Great British Grand Prix in Silverstone. We'll see you throughout the week for some more practice lobbies. Thank you very much once again, and bye-bye.